Deep in a cave, tens of thousands of years ago, a band of cavemen sat through 11 days of rain, straight. No roof, no fire that would stay lit, no way to hunt because the animals had scattered and the ground had turned to mud that swallowed footprints whole. Now imagine you're stuck in a cave with 30 other people for over a week with nothing to do, no lights, no phones, no way to leave. You'd think that would be one of the worst weeks of their lives. It might actually be the reason you're alive today. Because what cavemen did during those forced, miserable, rain-soaked weeks may be the single most underrated force in our entire evolution. And by the end of this video, you'll never look at a rainy day the same way again. For 300,000 years, humans lived almost entirely outdoors. Rain wasn't an inconvenience. It was a full stop on survival. When it rained for days, three things happened almost immediately. Hunting stopped because wet ground kills scent trails, and most prey simply goes into hiding. Fire became precious because a fire that goes out in a downpour, with no dry tinder for miles, could mean the difference between life and death from hypothermia. And movement became dangerous because flash floods, mudslides, and swollen rivers turned travel into a gamble. So what do you do when the two things your entire existence depends on, moving and eating, are suddenly both impossible? You wait together in the dark, and it turns out waiting together in the dark for days at a time might have quietly built the human mind. There's a theory among anthropologists that goes something like this. Boredom is a uniquely human problem, and it might be one of our greatest evolutionary gifts. Animals don't get bored the way we do. A lion that isn't hunting is simply resting. Its brain doesn't spiral into invention. But a caveman, trapped in a cave with nothing to hunt, nowhere to go, and hours of darkness ahead, has a brain that keeps working anyway. So what did they actually do? Evidence from prehistoric cave sites around the world suggests they told stories. Some of humanity's oldest art, hand stencils, animal paintings, abstract markings, appear in the deepest, most storm-sheltered parts of caves, far from any entrance. Sites that show heavy, repeated use over long periods weren't just shelters. They were where people pass time. They made things, tools that show unusually fine, unnecessary detail. Decorative etchings on bone, beads carved from shells, are often explained by researchers as products of downtime, not necessity. You don't carve a decorative pattern into a spear tip when you're starving and desperate. You do it when you're waiting. And they talked. Language itself may have accelerated during long enforced closeness. When you can't move, hunt, or work, conversation becomes the only form of entertainment, bonding, and information sharing left. In other words, the rainy days may have been the incubator for culture itself. Here's the part that gets overlooked. Being trapped together for days in cramped, low-light conditions isn't just about killing time. It's a pressure cooker for social bonds. Modern psychology has a name for something similar. Proximity breeds intimacy. People who are forced into close, repeated contact, even strangers, tend to form stronger bonds faster than people who see each other briefly and often. Now stretch that across a species, over hundreds of thousands of years, during storm seasons that could last weeks. Groups that got through those weeks without falling apart, without infighting, without abandoning the weak or the very young, were the groups that survived to have children. That means something wild. Rainy day cooperation may have been naturally selected for. The bad-tempered, impatient, selfish cavemen who couldn't handle 2 weeks of forced closeness didn't just have an unpleasant week. Some anthropologists argue their lineages were less likely to make it through generation after generation of these bottleneck events. Cooperation wasn't just a nice trait. It might have been the price of admission for surviving the rain. There's one more piece: planning. When you're stuck for days with nothing to do but think, you start doing something no other animal does at scale. You plan for a future that hasn't happened yet. Where will we hunt when this clears? Do we have enough fuel to keep this fire going another night? Should we move the group somewhere higher before the river rises more? This kind of forward-thinking, delayed gratification planning is considered one of the biggest cognitive leaps separating humans from other primates. And it's hard to practice planning for tomorrow when you're moving and reacting every single day. Rain forced stillness. Stillness forced foresight. So the very thing that felt like wasted time may have been training the human brain to imagine a future, arguably the foundation of agriculture, of building shelters that outlast a season, of civilization itself. So back to that cave, tens of thousands of years ago. 11 days of rain, a band of cavemen, no hunting, no fire that would hold, no way out. By the time the sky cleared, they may have painted on the walls, carved something with their hands, told a story that got passed to their children, and quietly practiced the exact skills, cooperation, patience, planning that would eventually let their descendants build cities, calendars, and civilizations. The next time it rains for days and you feel that creeping restlessness, that itch to do something, remember that itch might be tens of thousands of years old. It might be the same feeling that built us. Rain didn't stop human evolution. It might have caused it.